Hey friends, been a while. Been busy. It's hot here in Tokyo right now. Stupid hot. And I've got a little bit of time kind of between jobs because I got some other things going on. Like my van is in the shop right now getting its checkup and oil change and stuff because I got to take it in next week to get the mandatory inspection done on it. And like I said, it's hot, so I'd rather be working in the workshop. Anyways, I'm working on this project here. It's for a client. It's basically a table or a desk, I guess. Essentially it's a table, but he's going to use it as a desk. Won't have any drawers or anything, just a big tabletop that will fit in his existing space and give him a lot more room to put stuff, because everybody's working from home now. So it's a big piece of ash, and it's two pieces. I bought a big long tabletop or countertop that I had it cut down, and I'm joining it together, and then I'm putting an edge piece on it. It's 30 mil thick, so that's like what, 1.25 inches, and it's 160 by 90, which is just under 3 feet by 5.5 feet, something like that. And I've bought some steel legs for it that will be detachable, so we can move it around. And it's a pretty simple build, but I thought I'd just take you along on it, just because I haven't done one of these in a long time. I really just haven't had the time to do one. So anyways, what do they say? Stay tuned, yeah, and we'll take you along on this. And I got to joint these two boards together to get the size that I need. Now, running both of these edges through my jointer, which is buried over there, is not going to be the easiest thing in the world to do. So I'm going to use my track saw to joint these two edges together. For making a glue up, it'll be more than fine. I've done this a couple times with the track saw, but I got the idea from years ago. Someone showed me how to do this with a hand saw, with obviously smaller pieces. I wouldn't want to try to run a hand saw all the way down that. But it'll work just the same. So I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but there's this end here has a little bit of a gap. In the middle there, it's actually pretty tight. These aren't clamped together. Underneath here, I have a sacrificial piece of wood that is going to get cut, but it is holding the two halves so they can't move. And going to run the track saw down there and joint these two things together, and then biscuit join it and glue it. Wish me luck. So there's the cut all the way down. Let's take the clamps off and slide them together and see how it looks. Okay, clamps are off. Let's push this together and see how it looks. Well, I think you're not going to get much better for a glue joint than that. So I'm going to use the biscuit joiner to join this together. That, by the way, is the very first Makita 18-volt tool I've ever bought. The 18-volt tool, without the battery, was actually quite a bit cheaper than the corded version. I would have been happy with the corded version because it lives in the shop, but I thought, well, for a little bit, with the battery and the charger, it was slightly more than just a corded tool, and now I've got the battery and the charger. I've actually got two batteries. But so now I'm into the 18-volt Makita stuff. Anyways, so what I'm doing here is I'm just laying these out. I'm setting the one about 6 centimeters, which is like what, 2 inches from the end here, and I'm just going to mark them here with a pencil, and then I'll come back later and mark them properly. But then I'm just going to go maybe, I don't know, you look at it that way, and you put another one maybe about 15 centimeters, 6 inches apart. So 15, so another 15 will be there. Oh God, I gotta do math on YouTube. That's not a good thing. Anyways, I figure a whole bunch of these is better than not enough. So I'm just gonna mark everything, both sides. and do that all the way along. And then I'll get the biscuit joiner going. Biscuit joiner or biscuit jointer? Heard both said. I think it actually is officially called a biscuit joiner. But you're kind of jointing the wood together, so I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Okay, so I got everything here lined up. I flipped the boards over, so I got one laying on top of the other. This way I can just do both things at the same time. It's easier, quicker. I clamped everything down because when you push on this thing, if the board moves, it kind of screws up your cut. So it's just easier to throw a couple clamps on. And I'm going to make my biscuit joiner cuts. Really like this little machine. Slow and steady, makes it easy. You got to make sure your settings are right, but it works great. The other thing that always amazes me is how well the dust collection works on this thing. I mean, there's hardly any chips anywhere, but this bag is full of chips. Like, I think it just works amazing. I guess that having the blade enclosed and it just acts as its own fan works really great. But I don't know how I got along without one of these for so long, but now I've got one. I don't know if it's just my biscuit joiner or maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I always get these little flags. Maybe it's just the kind of wood. So I just come by and chop them off. So I'm ready to start gluing this all up. I use a little one of these acid brushes. I think I buy them from Lee Valley. I cut the bristles a bit shorter than they come out of the box, and it seems to works well for this. Using Type Bond 3 just because I have it. Also, I wanted to mention I keep my biscuits in a Ziploc bag with one of those desiccant things in it that's supposed to keep them, because it's quite humid here, especially in the summer, and they fit in nicely right now, but I'm afraid that if I didn't do that, they'd swell up, so I'll do that. Anyways, I'm going to just glue up each hole and put these things in, and then put some glue on everywhere and make a mess. Oh, just a little bit of glue in there, each one. Put some glue on there. Take the brush, make it all nice and smoothy like. I put glue on the other side as well too, both sides. Not a huge amount of glue, but I don't spare it either. You know, end up wiping the squeeze out off anyways, almost for sure. Now it's all going to slide together. Line these lines up the best that I can. Okay, I got that all glued up. Scrape off some of this glue so I don't got to deal with it later. Of course, the hard part of this is going to be flipping this sucker over and doing the other side. But the other side's the back. I don't think I'm going to worry about it that much. On to the fun part of the project, sanding. The only thing that's going to make this any better than it used to be is I've got this new sander, bought a little while ago. It's a GEX 40-150. It's a Bosch 150 millimeter, so that's like what, 6-inch instead of like a 4-inch or a 4.5-inch. And it works really well. I've got some 80 grit sandpaper on here. This is the underside. So I'm going to sand this 80 and then probably 120, and that's probably all I'm going to sand it to. The top side is of course going to get sanded to 400. But I'm going to start on the bottom side and then flip it over. So, sanding. So I sanded the glue line first. Looks really good on this side. This is one of these slabs that's put together with a whole bunch of small pieces. So there are little imperfections here and there that I'll take care of as I go. But to keep my sanding kind of consistent, I'm going to take a pencil and just draw some lines all over everything and then sand off the pencil lines. Pretty common. Also need to fix this because wire's kind of flopping around here, but I'll do that off camera. I don't know how well the lines show up on camera. I think you can see them, but I'm just going to sand this corner so you can see what I'm talking about. So I think you can see the lines are gone, so that's what I'm using the lines for, is just to keep track of where I'm sanding. I won't bore you with the rest. Okay, so the 80 grit is done. So now I'm going to wet the whole surface down with water and rub it down and then let it dry to raise the grain. And then I hit it with the 120 grit. You want to soak it down pretty good, but not too crazy. And then I always like to take a rag and just rub it in a bit. Okay, with the aircon on in the shop, it shouldn't take very long to dry. But in the meantime, I'm going to go on Amazon and see what tools I need. Okay, the 180 is done. The water was sprayed. The water has dried. The surface is very rough now because all the fibers have raised. Get my pencil out again and do some more lines. Let's go. Okay, the 120 is done. It's nice and smooth. I mean, for the underside of the table, this is more than good enough. Run your hands over it. Your hands will pick up a lot more than your eyes will. Yeah, that's smooth. Okay, I'm going to probably put the pieces on the underside before I flip it over, and then I'll sand the top. And then I got a hole to put on it and legs to put on it and some other stuff. Stay tuned. So I'm doubling up on the edge here. Got this piece of stock that I had left over, cut down. And what I'm going to do here, sorry the lighting is not great here. Maybe we'll go on the other side. Flip that light on. A little better lighting. What I'm doing with this is I'm going to set this piece here because this has got a fairly rough edge on it. But this edge here is nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on like a millimeter or like a 30-second back from this edge, and I'm going to glue it and screw it in place. And then once it's all glued and screwed and dried, then I have this son of a gun that I will use to run along the edge. And this thing actually leaves an incredibly smooth surface. So got to run it on quite low speed on the router. Don't ask me how I know that. And that'll give me a nice smooth flush edge with very little sanding. So you can see the size of this thing. This thing is just ginormous. That's one heck of a bit. But yeah, I found that works pretty good on these table edges. Okay, I've got the apron, I think that's what you call it, apron on. It's all square. It's all slightly in, so like I said, I can run that big router bit all the way around and make both surfaces perfectly smooth and same height or width or whatever you want to call it. So I've got everything marked out in here. I've got a whole bunch of holes to drill with my countersink thing on it. I actually got some deck screws. They're great because they're powder coated stainless. They'll last forever. So I'm going to drill all the holes, and then I'm going to take it all apart, put some glue down, and stick it all back together. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I got this glued in place, and now I just got to screw it down. Where did my screws go? There. Got this brand new impact driver. First time I've ever used it. It's a Hikoki. It used to be Hitachi. 36 volt. One of my 14.4 volt units got stolen recently. We were doing clean up at the park after the local summer festival, and I left it unattended for a little while. Came back from the storehouse where we store all the stuff from the festival, and it was gone. As well as one of my batteries, a good pair of linesman pliers, and some other stuff. So I had to buy this. So far I like it. The thing is, the battery is huge, even though it's only a what is it, 2.5 amp hour? It says in here somewhere. There it is. For the 36 volt, it's only a 2.5 amp hour battery. For the 18 volt, because it's a multi-volt, it's a 5 amp hour battery, but it's kind of big. But that's the smallest battery I can get. Anyways, that's glued and screwed, so now I got to do the other sides. It's another day in the shop. So today I'm going to be putting on the legs, and I'm putting them on with these inserts that go into the wood and some 6mm stainless steel screws, or machine screw things, whatever you call them. Bring it up here and show you. So insert and screw like that. Of course, the legs are not drilled for 6mm, they're drilled for like a screw, but I want them something a little more secure than that. So I got to drill all the legs out, and then I got to drill my holes and put the inserts in. So let's get that done. Okay, so here's the insert, and these things are tapered. So if you measure it down here, it's what is that? 7.7 mil. You see that? Measure it up here. Let me see if I can get that in the camera. It's 8.8 mil, 8.9 mil. So what I'm going to do is I've got an 8.7 mil drill bit here, kind of in the middle, split the difference. Now obviously I don't want to drill through my table. The table is 30mm thick where the legs are going, and this is 20, so I got room. So what I do is I'm going to cut a block here. So I got my piece of wood that I'm going to drill a hole through, and I got my insert. So I'm going to take the pencil and make a mark here. I can get my pencil to work. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to put this in a drill press and drill a hole right through the middle of that. And then this block will be my stop for the drill bit. You'll see. Okay, so I got my block of wood with a hole drilled in it. Nice sound. So now if you look, that should be just about perfect, but I will do a test drill on a piece just to make sure. So I'm just going to drill in the corner here of this off-cut piece. So I would line up my mark, and then I hold this down there so that keeps everything straight. And that should be my hole deep enough. Let's just check. Yeah, it should be deep enough. And that just goes in. Like that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And bolt would go in like that, hold the leg on. Okay, I got the leg right here in the corner where I want it. To mark the 4 holes, I'm going to use a transfer punch. This transfer punch is almost exactly the same size as that hole. If you don't have these, I guess you could just take a pencil and draw a circle and do it like that, but since I got these, I might as well use the darn things. So the transfer punch is a punch that's a certain diameter. On the end of it, it's got a little point that goes right through the hole and makes a nice dimple on the wood. Oh, now I got my 4 spots I drill. I'm just realizing here that I'm going to have a problem with that block. It's too close here. I'm going to have to make my block smaller. But I'll drill one just so you can see out here. So clean the drill bit out each time because it packs up in there. So I'm on my hole, got my piece down. Want it just slightly below the surface so that it doesn't lift up the leg. So then the leg would go on like this, and this machine screw would go in there. Bob's your uncle. Okay, you can see I chopped two sides off my block so I could line it up for that hole, the corner, and that hole. I drilled my holes. I put the inserts in. Just test fit all this stuff. Should fit. Oops, wrong drill. 3 or 4 Ugga-Duggas. That leg is on there. That's not going anywhere. Okay, just got 3 more to do. Okay, that's all 4 legs installed. Of course, I now have to take them apart because I need to finish the bottom at some point, and I need to flip this thing over and get to work on the top. Okay, I got that beast flipped over, so now I get to do more sanding. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm going to have to obviously go through and hit it with a sander, but not bad. I've got the top sanded down to 240, which is the highest sandpaper grit I have right now, and really 240 with an oil finish. It's going to get an Osmo oil finish on it. Will be more than smooth enough. It's really nice. And then the other thing I have to do here, I'm still negotiating with whether or not we're going to round the corners over or leave them square. It looks nice square, but it's in a very confined space, and I'm afraid that if you cut your hip on that as you walk by to get out get into another part of the room, it would, that's a pretty sharp corner. I'd like to put at least a slight round over on it, but we still waiting for the client to respond back to that. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to put a hole here because we're going to put a wire grommet in, and then underneath there'll be a power bar so that the various monitors and computers and stuff will all go into the one hole, go into the power bar, and then the power bar one cable will go to the wall. And I think that's going to be a nice clean outfit. The reason why it's over here instead of being right in the middle or over in the corner is this will sit in front of beside a built-in kind of wall desk. That's like it's a desk that's built into a wall cabinet. So when the customer wants, they can slide the whole table in underneath that built-in part, and it comes out to about 65, which is about here. So they could slide it in there and make the desk smaller, but it would give the room more access. But they'd still have the wire grommet would still be accessible, obviously. But when they want to, they can slide it out, and the whole desk would be usable, and the wire grommet, well, not in the middle, it would be over here. I think that's the best spot for it. Putting it in the middle just makes everything further from the wall to plug it in, so I think here's a better idea. So that's what we're going to do. So unfortunately, because I don't know, the wire grommet that I could get, that's the large size that I want, is 61 millimeters, and the drill bit or the hole saw that I have is 60. So I'm hoping that the 0.5 millimeter on either side will come from this thing not going through it perfectly straight, because they never do. And if need be, I'll just get a circular sanding disc and just go in there and make it slightly larger. But anyways, these things are always fun to do. So I was afraid this drill wouldn't have enough. I'm gonna have to go to a different drill. I think this is a smaller Bosch drill with a very small battery on it. So I'm gonna see if I'm gonna be able to do it with it or not. We'll see. 1.25 inch ash, so it's pretty hard. It is a nice sharp hole saw. just to be fair to my little Bosch drill, I drug out my Pro Core 18 volt 8 amp hour battery instead of that 1.5 basic one, just before I dig out the Milwaukee. Yeah, it's letting the smoke out. Look, this is a little much for this drill. I think I'm going to go grab the Milwaukee. Yeah, so I grabbed the Milwaukee. This is the Gen 2, I think it is, the 2904. It's a hammer and a drill. The other one's just a drill. To be totally fair to the Bosch, hang on. This Bosch is a very basic drill that I bought with the basic impact when I was visiting Canada, visiting my parents. Oh man, the battery doesn't want to come off. Oh, there it comes. It's a DDB 181. Oh, that's maybe not what it's called. I don't know. But I mean, this is not an expensive drill. I mean, it works great for around the workshop, but it's not really meant for doing this. So let's be fair. Okay, here's the Milwaukee. This is on the high speed. Let's see how that does. Oh, hang on, it's still on hammer. Let's turn it off hammer. Just on to drill. Like I said, this isn't a competition between the two drills because it's really not fair. This is, I don't know, $400 or $500 drill. This is a $150 drill, so let's not go there. But like they say, right tool for the job, right? Okay, so that's done. So let's see if the grommet fits. Oh, let's see if the wire grommet fits. Oh, geez, it's like a little bit of force that'll be friction fit. Perfect. Well, I guess maybe the wire grommet guys know more than I do. Maybe the reason this is 61 is because they know that when you drill with a hole saw, a 60 mil hole saw, it's going to be wiggling around and be slightly oversized. Oh, that's like a perfect fit. I'm so happy with that. That's great. Okay, I got a little bit of sanding to do around here on the underside, and then I got to start finishing this thing, and it's basically done except for the power bar underneath, which I can't put on until I put the finish on. So I'm going to round over the edges because they're really sharp, and I think I'm just going to use that bit also on the corner. It's like a 1/4 inch round over, just so I have not a super sharp corner. I still haven't heard back from the client yet. I know they're very busy. So I mean, if they decide that they want a larger curve on the corners, we could do that. But for now, I'm going to get this done because I'd really like to get some finish on this today and tomorrow, so I can hopefully deliver it tomorrow. Hope, because I need to get it out of my workshop because I need space. Okay. So that's just a very basic round over. On the end grain, you often get a little bit of burning, especially on this ash. But sandpaper, take that off a second. I'll do the underside when I flip it over to put the finish on the underside. But for now, I think that's a nice soft edge. I mean, when you're sitting at this as a desk, it'll be perfect. I got it flipped over. It's a heavy beast. I got a moving blanket underneath it to protect that cover or the top that I did a nice sanding job on, and now we're going to run the router around the bottom edge to make that nice and round. And then after that, a little more sanding, and then I'm going to put some finish on it. Okay, let's get her done. Nice. A little hand sanding, a little cleanup, and then on to the finish. Okay, so I just used this rounding corner jig thing to make a 40 millimeter radius corner on this piece of MDF. I would love to use this jig on this table to do this corner that I need to do, but I can't because the bit that I'm going to use, this crazy thing, the diameter is way too big to fit in there, so it obviously wouldn't go away around the corner. So I'm going to just use this MDF as a template once I cut it with this. So these things they're quite cool. It wasn't expensive. I got it on Amazon, I think, but you can make beautiful, nice corners, you know, using your trim bit router with a small diameter bit. It works really good. But for this table, I have to make up a separate piece. Okay, so I got that jig made up, and I got it screwed on in two places. And then I've got I cut this corner off with a handsaw just to make it less material for this sucker to remove. Because it is end grain and it's going to tear a little bit, but it'll be fine. I mean, I'll sand it and it'll look just peachy keen. I think that this size of the corner that the client chose is really a good size. It's a 40 millimeter radius, and it'll make a nice corner there so you won't catch your hip on it as you walk by. Well, I guess we're going to see how this goes. I've never tried this bit on a corner, so wish me luck. Locked down. Got it on the slowest speed. Oh, that worked really good. I'll have to, of course, put my round over bit over there again, but hey, that looks great. Wonderful. Okay, first coat of Osmo on there. I love this stuff. It's really great. Easy to work with and leaves a really nice finish. I use this often on floors because that's what it's for, but I also find it leaves a really nice surface on something like this, a table or a desk. So gonna have to put another coat on tomorrow, and then I gotta flip it over and do the underside, just one coat on the underside. Let it cure for a couple of days, wrap it up and deliver it. I didn't get any more video footage, but the project was completed and delivered, and here's a picture of it in the client's workspace. This is really great. They love it. I love it. It's done. Moving on to the next things. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.